You're watching Breakfast on Sky News. It's 6:20. Well, back home, here in Britain, we may have long prided ourselves on good manners, but that is potentially being all called into question. Well, it's time to sit up straight, arms off the table, and also enunciate your T's, because William Hanson's here, the leading etiquette expert. So we're all getting a bit more slovenly?
Well, I think with British dining etiquette, what has happened over the last 20 years is we have a whole different array of foods that have come in because our cuisine has become, thank heavens, a lot more varied and international.
Spam is less on the menu.
Exactly, and a lot of the British rules of dining etiquette were sort of codified in a different era, and etiquette always evolves. It should reflect the society that we have around us today, and it makes it fun for me. So it's, yes, OK, there are these very formal rules, but actually how we eat or what we are eating has changed.
Because the fine dining, the royal banquets, all of that is not really being accessed by people like you and I, unfortunately.
Yes, it's not a state banquet every night, sadly. I mean, it's sort of akin to that slightly in my house, but most people don't go down a state banquet route.
So what should we be doing in 2024 then? Because we've got smartphones, we're kind of dual screening. If you saw me at 4 o'clock, I was eating breakfast at my desk.
Oh, right, yes.
What's...
Lovely.
Well, you told me exactly what you felt with that response. But, like, if you go out for a quick bite after dinner and it's, I don't know, you go to a ramen restaurant, it's not the same as what etiquette of old used to be.
No, exactly, and it depends on what you are eating and whether you're eating on your own, as a lot of people do, whether it's at their desk or on the sofa at night if they've had a long day at work. And again, I would still say generally, compared to sort of different cultures, Western table manners there is a minimal awareness of food. We try to avoid showing others that we're eating, mouth closed, no noise. Actually, new research by Noodle shows that over 50% of people slurp their noodles if they're eating that. Now, that's potentially OK in Eastern culture, which is, of course, where noodles really come from, but maybe not in Western table manners, where we're elbows in, as you said at the start, sit up straight. Everything's sort of very neat, generally.
We have to talk about the fact that you made your name, in many respects, certainly for the TikTok generation, around peas.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And how to eat them.
Yes, and again, there's a sort of it's something that I was always brought up with. So to me, it's bizarre that this video on my social media, I think on Instagram, it's just under 60 million people have watched this. You don't turn the fork over to eat your peas. You would sort of spear the peas onto the tines of the fork, pushing against the blade of the knife to secure them, and the fork goes into the mouth this way. You don't sort of upturn it. In other countries, like in Europe, that is absolutely fine. But in Britain, there's a British way to eat peas. And this blew people's minds. I've actually literally this week filmed a follow-up video to peas. It hasn't gone up yet.
Well, I look forward to Peas Part 2, sweet corn.
Indeed.
But you talk about kind of nationalities in different countries. What about across the UK? Because I'm thinking that there's the whole afternoon tea thing, for example,
yes.
Cream jam, for example. But do we find that our approach to etiquette and excellence varies, whether you're in the home counties versus up in Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a north-south divide in terms of friendliness. I mean, I used to live in Manchester for 9 years, and people were much more friendly generally and are sort of more well-mannered in terms of they don't sort of look at you automatically assuming the worst, which perhaps in London happens more than in Manchester. They're sort of up for a chat. So there is that, but generally, I think our etiquette is more or less the same wherever you go. And British etiquette is a little bit stiffer than other countries.
Is that going to change? Do you foresee, as life moves on, as time changes, that we're going to get all a bit more relaxed, that the kind of heyday of etiquette is perhaps behind us?
I think that we will always be sort of slightly more uptight than other cultures, but all of us, including everyone, will get just more and more relaxed, but we'll still be the most uptight.
That's the forecast for certainly British etiquette here on Breakfast. Will, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Still to come on The Breakfast Show this morning, we'll be looking at all the sporting action from the Champions League as Manchester City